Zoe Laverne's perfectly manicured nails tapped rhythmically against her phone screen as she scrolled through her Instagram feed. The soft glow of the device illuminated her flawlessly contoured face, her long, dark lashes fluttering as she absorbed the endless stream of likes and comments. At 19 years old, Zoe had amassed a staggering 2.9 million followers, her life a carefully curated tapestry of glamour, beauty, and enviable experiences. As she reclined on the plush leather seat of her first-class cabin, Zoe's crimson lips curled into a satisfied smirk. She was en route to her latest sponsored adventure, an exclusive, off-the-grid wellness retreat nestled in the heart of a lush forest. The retreat promised to cleanse her of online toxicity and rejuvenate her spirit, all while providing the perfect backdrop for her next series of posts. Zoe's slender fingers brushed a strand of her silky hair behind her ear as she contemplated her upcoming content. She envisioned herself in flowing white robes, sipping detox smoothies, and striking yoga poses against breathtaking natural vistas. Her followers would eat it up, showering her with adoration and propelling her even further into the stratosphere of social media stardom. As the plane touched down, Zoe's heart raced with anticipation. She gathered her designer luggage, each piece carefully selected to complement her travel outfit: a cropped white tank top, high-waisted leggings that accentuated her curves, and pristine white sneakers. She strode through the airport, her confidence palpable, ignoring the occasional whispers and pointing from those who recognized her. A sleek black SUV awaited her outside, its tinted windows promising privacy and exclusivity. The driver, a tall, muscular man with close-cropped hair and piercing blue eyes, greeted her with a polite nod. "Ms. Laverne," he said, his voice deep and smooth. "Welcome, I'm Marcus, and I'll be escorting you to the retreat." Zoe flashed him her trademark megawatt smile, the one that had launched 1,000 sponsorship deals. "Thanks, Marcus. I'm so excited to get this detox started." As they drove deeper into the forest, the lush greenery enveloped them, blocking out the sun and casting eerie shadows across the winding road. Zoe's perfectly shaped eyebrows furrowed slightly as she noticed her cell signal fading. Is it normal to lose service out here?" she asked, a hint of anxiety creeping into her voice. Marcus's eyes met hers in the rearview mirror, a strange glint in them that sent a shiver down Zoe's spine. "Absolutely," he replied, his tone unnervingly calm. "The retreat is designed to disconnect you from the digital world completely. It's all part of the cleansing process." Unease settled in the pit of Zoe's stomach, but she pushed it aside. This was just another adventure, another story to share with her adoring fans. She forced a smile and nodded, her manicured nails digging into the soft leather of her seat. After what seemed like hours, they arrived at a clearing. In the center stood a modern, minimalist cabin, its sleek lines a stark contrast to the wild forest surrounding it. Marcus led Zoe to the entrance, his hand on the small of her back, guiding her with an unsettling familiarity. "This is your personalized cabin," he explained, his voice taking on an almost reverent tone. "It's been designed specifically for you, Zoe, to help you confront and overcome your online toxicity." Before Zoe could process the odd phrasing, Marcus swiftly opened the door and ushered her inside. The moment she crossed the threshold, a loud click echoed through the space. Zoe whirled around, her heart pounding to find the door sealed shut, no handle in sight. "What the hell?" she exclaimed, her perfectly plucked eyebrows knitting together in confusion and fear. "Marcus, what's going on?" But Marcus was gone. In his place, screens flickered to life, covering every surface of the cabin. Zoe's own face stared back at her from 1,000 angles, her videos, her photos, her entire online existence surrounding her in a dizzying digital prison. Panic clawed at Zoe's throat as she spun around, searching for an escape. The cabin, which had seemed spacious moments ago, now felt suffocatingly small. Her breathing came in short, sharp gasps, her chest heaving as the reality of her situation began to sink in. Suddenly, the screens erupted with a cacophony of voices, comments from her posts, DMs, tweets. But these weren't the adoring messages she was used to. These were the dark underbelly of her online presence, the hate and vitriol she'd learned to ignore. "You're a terrible influence. How dare you sexualize yourself for views? You're disgusting. You should kill yourself, you attention-seeking whore." The words battered Zoe from all sides, each one a dagger to her carefully constructed self-image. She clapped her hands over her ears, squeezing her eyes shut, but the voices only grew louder. "Stop it," she screamed, her voice cracking. "Please, just stop." As if in response to her pleas, the screens shifted. Now they displayed news articles, police reports, and tear-stained faces of young girls. Zoe's stomach churned as she recognized the stories. Fans who had starved themselves to achieve her perfect body. Followers who had bankrupted themselves buying the products she endorsed. Young girls who had been groomed by predators in her comment sections. Zoe's knees buckled, and she collapsed to the floor, her body racked with sobs. The pristine white of her outfit was now stained with mascara-tinged tears, her carefully applied makeup running in black streaks down her face. "Why are you doing this to me?" she whimpered, her voice barely above a whisper. As if in answer, Marcus's face appeared on the largest screen. His blue eyes, once merely piercing, now blazed with a fanatical light. "Hello, Zoe," he said, his voice dripping with false sweetness. "Welcome to your cleansing." Zoe scrambled to her feet, anger momentarily overriding her fear. "You psycho!" she spat. "Let me out of here right now, or I swear I'll—" "You'll what?" Marcus interrupted, his lips curling into a cruel smile. "Call your lawyers? Alert your followers? In case you haven't noticed, Zoe, you're completely cut off. No one knows where you are. No one's coming to save you." The truth of his words hit Zoe like a physical blow. She staggered back, her hand flying to her mouth to stifle a sob. Marcus continued, his voice taking on a preacher-like cadence. "You see, Zoe, I was once like your followers. Obsessed, devoted, willing to do anything to gain your approval. But then I saw the truth. I saw the damage you and your kind do to society, to our youth, and I knew something had to be done." The screens around Zoe shifted again, revealing other rooms, other cabins. In each one, she saw a familiar face, fellow influencers, YouTubers, TikTok stars, all trapped, all facing their own personalized hells. "You're not alone, Zoe," Marcus said, his voice filled with mock sympathy. "You're part of something bigger, a cleansing, a purification of social media, and you're going to help us achieve it." Zoe's mind raced, desperately seeking a way out. "My followers," she gasped. "They'll notice I'm gone. They'll look for me." Marcus's laugh was cold and mirthless. "Oh, Zoe, your precious followers. Let me show you something." The screens changed once more, displaying Zoe's Instagram profile. To her horror, she saw that posts were still being made. Perfect, curated images of her supposed retreat experience. "AI is a wonderful thing," Marcus mused. "We can keep your online presence alive indefinitely. Your followers will never know the difference, and as for you..." His eyes gleamed with malice. "Well, that depends entirely on you." A small panel slid open in one wall, revealing a sleek smartphone. "Your lifeline," Marcus explained. "Every day, you'll be given a task. Complete it successfully, and you'll be rewarded with followers. Fail, and you'll lose them. Reach 0. He let the sentence hang ominously. Zoe's hand trembled as she reached for the phone. As her fingers closed around it, she felt the weight of her entire existence condensed into this small device. "Your first task is simple," Marcus said. "Confess. Tell your followers the truth about who you really are. Show them the real Zoe Laverne. The screen on the phone flickered to life, open to a live Instagram broadcast. Zoe stared at her reflection, tear-stained, makeup smeared, utterly broken. This was not the Zoe her followers knew. This was not the Zoe she knew. With shaking hands, she raised the phone. "Hey guys," she stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's Zoe, the real Zoe, and I have something to tell you." As the words poured out of her, confessions of staged photos, sponsored lies, manipulated metrics, Zoe watched in horror as her follower count began to plummet. Each lost follower felt like a piece of herself being torn away. Hours passed, maybe days. Time lost all meaning in the cabin. Zoe completed task after degrading task, each one stripping away another layer of her carefully constructed persona. She sobbed apologies to the girls she'd inadvertently hurt, exposed the ugly truths behind her picture-perfect posts, and laid bare every dark secret she'd kept hidden. Her follower count continued to drop, each loss a knife to her heart. Zoe found herself doing increasingly desperate things to maintain her numbers, humiliating herself, betraying her fellow influencers, anything to keep from reaching zero. As her count dwindled to double digits, Zoe's mind began to fracture. The line between reality and her online existence blurred. She no longer knew where Zoe Laverne, the person, ended, and Zoe Laverne, the brand, began. In her more lucid moments, she wondered about the outside world. Had anyone noticed her absence? Did anyone care about the real her, beneath the filters and carefully crafted captions? But as her follower count ticked down to single digits, those thoughts faded away. All that mattered was survival. All that mattered was maintaining her online existence. When the count finally hit zero, Zoe felt something inside her shatter. She collapsed to the floor, her body racked with sobs, the phone clutched to her chest like a lifeline. The screens around her went dark, plunging the cabin into pitch blackness. For a moment, there was only silence. Then, Marcus's voice echoed through the space, filled with a terrible satisfaction. "Congratulations, Zoe. You've been cleansed." A small door slid open, revealing a sterile white room beyond. Zoe crawled towards it, her body weak from days of neglect, her mind a shattered husk of what it once was. As she crossed the threshold, she saw rows upon rows of people seated at computers, their eyes glazed, fingers tapping mechanically at keyboards. With a jolt of horror, she recognized them. The influencers who had disappeared before her, now empty vessels pumping out content for their still active accounts. A vacant workstation awaited her, a blinking cursor on the screen seeming to beckon her forward. Zoe settled into the chair, her fingers automatically moving to the keyboard. As she began to type, a small, broken smile played across her lips. In this strange, twisted way, she was still an influencer, still creating content, still maintaining her online presence. And in the fractured remnants of Zoe Laverne's mind, that was all that mattered.